Every morning, he wakes up at 6 a.m. He pours his coffee, clips the leash on his dog, and takes the same quiet walk around the block he's taken for years. He's 62, retired, doing everything right. His doctor says his numbers are not alarming. He feels mostly fine. And yet, something small has changed.
His eyes look a little puffier in the mirror.
His energy fades sooner in the afternoon. His blood pressure? Slowly creeping up, year by year. Here's the truth no one told him, and maybe no one told you. Some organs scream when they're in trouble.
Your heart races. Your lungs burn. Your joints ache. Your kidneys don't tell. They don't complain. They don't send sharp pain.
They work quietly, until they can't. Every single day, your kidneys filter over 50 gallons of blood. They remove waste. They balance fluids. They keep your heart beating steady and your body in balance. But even the strongest workers wear down with time.
Excess creatinine.
Uric acid.
Sodium.
Metabolic toxins. Drop by drop, year by year, these burdens build up, especially after 50. And long before diagnosis, your kidneys begin to slow, silently. That's why kidney decline is often discovered late. Not because it happens fast, but because it happens quietly. Here's the question that could change everything. What if the small, everyday habits you repeat, even something as simple as what you sip, could help protect your kidneys before damage becomes permanent? Today, we're going to talk about gentle, natural rituals that many people overlook. Not medications.
Not extreme detoxes.
But simple teas that have supported kidney health for generations. Because sometimes, the most powerful protection begins with the quietest choice. Most people hear the same explanation. You're tired because you're getting older. Your blood pressure rises with age. Your body just doesn't recover like it used to. And for years, that answer feels comforting.
It sounds normal.
It sounds unavoidable. But here's what doctors rarely have time to explain in detail. Aging itself is not what weakens your kidneys.
Accumulationis.
As the years pass, your kidneys don't suddenly fail. They slowly carry more weight than they were designed to hold.
More processed food.
More sodium hidden in everyday meals.
More blood sugar spikes.
More inflammation quietly simmering in the background. And less time to fully recover. Your kidneys are incredibly resilient, but they are also sensitive. They respond to pressure.
To inflammation.
To what flows through your bloodstream every single day. That's why many people feel mostly okay, while damage is already beginning. Because kidney strain doesn't announce itself with sharp pain. It shows up as subtle shifts. Needing longer naps. Swelling that comes and goes. Muscle aches that don't quite make sense. Numbers on lab tests that inch upward, year after year. And when those numbers finally cross a line, people are shocked. How did this happen?
I felt fine.
The truth is, your kidneys were asking for support long before they were asking for help. And here's the part that brings hope. In early and even moderate stages, kidneys respond remarkably well to gentler conditions.
Lower inflammation. Better fluid balance. Less metabolic stress. Not through extreme cleanses.
Not through miracle cures. But through small, consistent daily choices that reduce the load they carry. That's where simple rituals matter. Not because they're dramatic, but because they're repeatable. And one of the easiest ways to support your kidneys without adding strain is through what you drink. Not sugary beverages. Not stimulants that push your system harder. But calming, protective teas that work with your body, not against it. So before we talk about which teas matter most,
let's understand why the way you support your kidneys today
can shape how they serve you in the years ahead. For many people over 50, the conversation around kidney health feels intimidating.
More pills. More warnings.
More things that can go wrong. And while medication can be life-saving when it's needed, there's something important that often gets lost in that conversation. Your kidneys don't just respond to treatment. They respond to conditions. Think of it this way. If you place constant pressure on a machine, it wears down faster. But if you reduce friction, ease the load, and give it space to recover, it doesn't just survive, it stabilizes. That's how kidneys work too. Long before medication becomes necessary, they benefit from habits that lower inflammation, improve circulation, and help waste move out more efficiently. That's why many doctors quietly recommend supportive lifestyle changes, especially for people in early or moderate stages of kidney strain.
Not dramatic detox programs.
Not harsh cleanses that shock the system, but gentle, repeatable rituals that your body can accept every day. One retired nurse in Arizona put it simply. She said, "I didn't want to fight my body anymore. I wanted to support it." She didn't add 10 new supplements. She didn't overhaul her entire diet overnight. She started with one calming habit: a warm cup in the afternoon instead of another soda or coffee. That small shift didn't cure anything overnight,
but it changed how her body felt. Less bloating, better sleep,
more stable energy. And over time, her lab numbers stopped climbing. That's the power of daily rituals. They don't overwhelm your kidneys. They don't demand perfection. They quietly reduce the load, sip by sip. Across cultures and generations, certain herbal teas have been used not as medicine,
but as support. They calm inflammation.
They encourage gentle cleansing. They protect delicate blood vessels that feed the kidneys. And when used thoughtfully, they become one of the safest ways to care for aging kidneys, without adding stress. So now, let's take a closer look at which teas truly matter, and why some of the most ordinary plants may offer extraordinary protection when your kidneys need it most. When people think about kidney health, they usually think about filtering and flushing. But there's something just as important that often gets overlooked:
calming inflammation.
Inflammation is like background noise in the body. You don't always notice it, but over time, it wears everything down, especially delicate organs like the kidneys. That's why the first step in supporting aging kidneys isn't pushing them to work harder.
It's helping them calm down.
Let's start with a tea almost everyone recognizes,
but few truly understand: chamomile.
Most people know chamomile as a bedtime tea.
Something gentle. Something simple.
But for the kidneys, chamomile does far more than relax the mind. One man in his late 60s shared that his nights were restless.
Not from pain, just constant waking.
And when sleep suffers, kidneys do too. Because the deepest kidney repair happens at night. Chamomile contains natural compounds that help quiet inflammation
and reduce oxidative stress.
Two forces that slowly damage kidney tissue as we age. By calming the nervous system and improving sleep quality, chamomile gives the kidneys what they need most.
Time to recover. Not force. Notstimulation. Just rest.
And that gentle approach matters more than people realize. Now, let's talk about another kind of inflammation. The kind that comes with stiffness, soreness, and chronic aches. For many older adults, joint pain becomes part of daily life. And with it often comes regular use of pain relievers.
What few people are told
is that frequent use of certain pain medications can quietly increase kidney strain over time. That's where ginger comes in. Fresh ginger tea has been used for centuries, not just to warm the body, but to calm inflammatory signals deep inside it. One woman in her early 70s described it perfectly. She said, "Ginger didn't make me feel numb.
It made me feel balanced."
Ginger helps reduce inflammatory activity in the body, while supporting healthy circulation, which means better blood flow to the kidneys, without forcing them to work overtime.
When inflammation eases,
the kidneys don't have to fight as hard.
Chamomile calms the system. Ginger steadies it.
Together, they remind us of something important. Supporting kidney health doesn't always begin with flushing and cleansing. Sometimes, it begins by simply helping your body feel safe enough to heal.
And once inflammation quiets,
the kidneys are finally ready for the next step:
gentle cleansing.
Which brings us to the next chapter. Once inflammation settles, something important happens. Your kidneys don't need to defend themselves as much anymore. And when that pressure eases, they can finally focus on what they were designed to do:
maintain balance.
Balance of fluids. Balance of minerals. Balance of waste moving out, not lingering behind.
This is where gentle cleansing matters.
Not aggressive detoxes. Not flushes that shock the system. But steady, supportive movement, the kind aging kidneys respond to best. Let's begin with a plant that's often overlooked, even ignored, sitting quietly on dinner plates.
Parsley.
Most people think of parsley as decoration. Something added at the end, easily forgotten. But when brewed as a tea, parsley becomes something entirely different. One retired accountant in his early 70s noticed his rings felt tighter by evening. His ankles swelled just enough to be annoying, but not enough to alarm him. His doctor called it fluid retention, and suggested watching salt intake. Parsley tea helped in a different way. It gently encouraged the body to release excess sodium and water. without forcing the kidneys into overdrive.
Not dramatic. Not sudden. Just a steady return toward balance.
Parsley supports mild, natural diuresis, meaning waste and excess fluids move out, without stripping the body or stressing the kidneys. That's exactly what aging kidneys need.
Now let us move from the kitchen to the backyard. Dandelion root.
For many Americans, dandelions are weeds. Something to pull, spray, and get rid of. But beneath the ground, the root tells a different story. Dandelion root has long been used to support both the liver and the kidneys, two organs that work closely together to manage toxins and metabolic waste. One woman from Oregon shared that she started drinking roasted dandelion root tea after her afternoon energy crashes became unbearable. What she noticed wasn't a sudden surge of energy,
but fewer crashes. Her digestion felt lighter. Her bloating eased.
And over time, her lab results stopped trending upward. Dandelion root supports gentle elimination of nitrogen-based waste, the kind that includes creatinine and urea, by helping the body move it out more efficiently, through natural pathways. This matters because when waste lingers, kidneys have to work harder to compensate. Parsley helps release what the body is holding on to. Dandelion root helps process what the body no longer needs. Together, they represent a crucial principle of kidney care. Cleansing should feel supportive, not exhausting. When you work with your body instead of pushing it, the kidneys respond with resilience. And once fluid balance improves, and waste begins moving more freely, the kidneys are better protected against another major threat:
pressure.
Which brings us to the next chapter. If there's one factor that quietly accelerates kidney decline,
it's pressure. Not emotional pressure,
but physical pressure inside your blood vessels. Your kidneys are filled with tiny, delicate filters. They depend on steady, gentle blood flow to do their job well. When blood pressure runs high, even slightly, those filters are forced to work under strain, day after day. And over time, that strain adds up. That's why so many people with early kidney issues also struggle with rising blood pressure. The two often travel together. Let's talk about a tea that's become almost iconic for heart health, but deserves just as much credit for kidney protection.
Hibiscus.
Its deep red color isn't just beautiful. It's a sign of powerful plant compounds that help relax blood vessels and improve circulation. One retired school principal in her late 60s began drinking hibiscus tea in the afternoon after her doctor noticed her systolic blood pressure creeping upward. She didn't replace her medication. She didn't stop monitoring her numbers. But over time, her readings became steadier. That matters because when blood vessels relax, blood flows more smoothly through the kidneys, reducing stress on fragile filtering units. Hibiscus supports healthy circulation, while also helping the body manage mild fluid retention, a common issue as we age. Less pressure means less wear and tear. Now let's look at something familiar from the spice rack.
Cinnamon.
Often associated with sweets and desserts, cinnamon has a reputation that doesn't tell the full story. In the body, certain types of cinnamon help improve microcirculation, the tiny blood flow pathways that nourish organs like the kidneys.
One man in his early 70s, living with prediabetes,
noticed his energy dipped after meals. His doctor explained that blood sugar swings can quietly damage blood vessels over time. Cinnamon tea became part of his routine, not as a cure,
but as support.
By helping stabilize blood sugar and encouraging healthier blood flow, cinnamon reduces stress on kidney vessels that are already sensitive with age. There's one important detail here. For kidney-friendly use, Ceylon cinnamon matters. It's gentler, lower in certain compounds that can be problematic in large amounts, and better suited for regular use.
Hibiscus eases pressure from the outside. Cinnamon supports circulation from the inside.
Together, they protect the pathways that allow kidneys to function smoothly. And when blood flow is steady and pressure is controlled, your kidneys are finally free to focus on long-term protection. Which brings us to the final chapter: how to protect kidney cells themselves before damage becomes irreversible. Everything we've talked about so far leads to this:
calming inflammation, restoring balance, easing pressure.
But there's one more layer of kidney health that matters just as much: protecting the cells themselves. Because once kidney cells are damaged repeatedly, they don't regenerate easily. Protection, not repair, becomes the priority. Let's start with a tea many people already drink, but often for the wrong reasons. Green tea. Most people think of green tea as a source of energy, a lighter alternative to coffee. But its real strength lies deeper. Green tea contains powerful plant compounds that help neutralize oxidative stress, the kind of cellular wear that slowly scars kidney tissue over time. One man in his mid-60s made a simple change. He swapped his second cup of coffee
for green tea in the late morning.
What he noticed wasn't jittery energy,
but clarity.
Less afternoon fatigue,
less mental fog.
And at his next checkup, his kidney numbers had stopped drifting upward. Green tea helps protect kidney cells by reducing inflammatory signals that lead to stiffness and scarring inside the kidneys. It's not about pushing the kidneys to filter faster. It's about helping them stay flexible. Now let's talk about a plant that many people avoid in the wild.
Stinging nettle. Its
name alone sounds aggressive, but in tea form, nettle becomes surprisingly gentle. Nettle leaf is rich in plant compounds that help reduce inflammatory messengers in the body, while supporting the kidney's natural filtering rhythm. For older adults dealing with both kidney strain and high uric acid or gout, this combination matters. One woman in her early 70s described nettle tea as quietly helpful.
No dramatic sensations. No sudden changes.
Just fewer flare-ups.
Less joint stiffness.
And lab values that slowly improved instead of worsened. Nettle supports kidney cells, while also helping manage uric acid. A double benefit for aging bodies, where systems are deeply connected. Green tea shields cells from oxidative damage. Nettle helps reduce inflammatory signaling at the source. Together, they represent the final layer of kidney care.
Long-term protection.
Not rescue.
Not emergency intervention. But steady preservation.
When kidneys are protected at the cellular level, everything else becomes easier. And now that we've explored how different teas support the kidneys, from calming and cleansing to circulation and cellular defense, the next question becomes just as important. How do you use these teas wisely, without overdoing it, or placing unnecessary strain on aging kidneys? Let's talk about that next. By now, one thing should be clear. These teas aren't magic. And they're not meant to replace medical care.
They're tools,
meant to be used wisely, especially as our bodies become more sensitive with age. The goal is not to do everything at once. In fact, doing too much can work against you. For most older adults, less is more. 1 or 2 teas a day is enough.
Not 8.
Not a rotating menu every hour. Think in terms of support, not stimulation. Choose a tea that fits your body and your routine.
A calming tea like chamomile in the evening.
A protective tea like green tea earlier in the day. A gentle cleansing tea a few times a week, not constantly.
Timing matters too.
Drinking tea between meals is often easier on digestion and allows the body to absorb beneficial compounds without interfering with nutrients or medications. Hydration matters just as much as what you drink.
Teas support kidney health,
but they don't replace plain water. Think of them as companions, not substitutes. There are also moments when caution is important. If you've been diagnosed with advanced kidney disease, if you're on dialysis, or if you take strong diuretics or blood pressure medications, always talk with your healthcare provider before adding new herbal routines. Not because teas are dangerous, but because your situation deserves personalized guidance.
And remember this.
If a tea makes you feel dizzy, overly fatigued, or uncomfortable in any way, that's your body asking for a pause. Supporting your kidneys should feel gentle, grounded,
sustainable.
Because the most powerful habits are the ones you can maintain for years,
not days.
And when you approach kidney care this way, something important shifts. You stop reacting to fear, and you start acting from understanding. Which brings us to the heart of this message.
Why it's never too late
to care for the organs that have quietly cared for you your entire life.
Let's go back to where we started. The quiet morning. The familiar walk.
The feeling of being mostly fine. For many people, kidney health only becomes real
when something goes wrong. A lab result. A warning from a doctor.
A sudden change that feels out of their control. But it doesn't have to start that way. One man in his early 60s said something that stayed with us.
He said,
I realized my kidneys had been working for me my whole life. I just hadn't been working for them. That shift in thinking changes everything. Because you may not control your age. But you can influence how your kidneys age. Not with extreme measures.
Not with fear.
But with small, steady acts of care.
A better night, less sleep. Less inflammation in the body. Gentler circulation.
Healthier daily rhythms.
These choices don't make headlines. They don't promise overnight miracles.
But over time, they add up. They help your kidneys do what they've always done best.
Quietly keep you balanced, steady, and well.
And perhaps the most powerful part of all this is realizing you're not powerless.
Even now.
Even if numbers have already shifted. Even if you've been told to just watch it.
Support is still possible.
Protection is still possible. And sometimes, it begins with something as simple as choosing a calmer cup. In a world that constantly pushes us to do more. Because when you care for the silent workers in your body, they continue to care for you.
Day after day.
Year after year. If this message resonated with you,
don't let it end here. Someone you care about
may be walking through their day,
feeling mostly fine,
while their kidneys are quietly asking for support. Sharing this video could be the gentle nudge they didn't know they needed. If you believe in caring for your body before problems become emergencies, take a moment to like this video. It helps more people find information that empowers, not frightens. And we'd love to hear from you. Which tea feels right for your life right now? Or what small habit has helped you feel more balanced as you've aged? Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. We're building a community here. One that believes health doesn't have to be extreme. And healing doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes, it starts quietly.
With understanding. With intention.
And with something as simple
as a warm cup held in steady hands.
Thank you for being here.